So, who have I got in front of me now?
My name's Wayne, Soul Avengerz.
How you doing, bruv? You good?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. You?
Listen, thank you very much for giving me my time, for coming on to Small Talk Artists. Enough respect for that.
It's a privilege, mate.
I just grabbed you from your show, didn't I?
Yep, just finished 6 till 8 on a Tuesday.
Yeah, wicked show, man. Wicked
Thank
show.
you very much.
Usual.
Funky time.
Yes, always, man. So, bruv, how long you been DJing?
I've been DJing since 89, kind of 88, 89.
Always been into your kind of disco-y flavours?
Yeah, always sort of like into early 80s as a very young teenager. Was into electro, like, you know, most people were back that day, you know, and then moved into kind of the street sound stuff, moved into the more, more rare groove, sort of like funk and boogie stuff of the mid to late 80s.
Yeah.
And then got into house music, but
we're talking early 90s?
88, 89,
okay.
and I kind of didn't really like most of the acid stuff, you know, that was at the things, and then
it's quite hard stepping back then, wasn't it?
And I just found myself gravitating to like to the more soulful stuff, you know. So like when 10 Cities Devotion album come out, that's where I knew I wanted to be, and then early 90s, you had Italia House come out, and that was firmly where I was in. I was in that kind of Italia House kind of... It wasn't into the raving, I was into more of the club
Which
scene.
was a very big scene as well then,
It was
right?
a massive scene,
yeah.
So I was going to places like, you know, Terry Farley's nights, all that kind of stuff, Nicky Holloway's dues, you know, Limelight's Trip,
I remember that.
Meat Bar. So I was more into the clubs rather than the raves at that time,
yeah.
And I was doing that kind of thing. Even though it was ravey, you know, we're still cracking on till 7 in the morning and stuff.
Yeah.
It was just more club orientated.
So we started DJing back then. So we're gonna get into your producing in a minute. But like, so when did you start actually playing out the stuff you wanted to play?
I used to play at a nightclub called Rara's, and I used to DJ in a pub called the Green Man in Oxton. So that's where I used to play sort of soul, funk, boogie, and you know, like Mantronic, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I was able to sort of play my funkier house kind of stuff, you know, back then.
Yeah.
And then I started up my own night, kind of wasn't getting any bookings for any of the local sort of like big nights. So I started my own club night up in '92.
Yeah.
And ran that for 30 years. So,
oh wow, wicked.
And that's where I kind of met my partner in the Soul Avengerz, Paul. We can't remember where
As we was rudely interrupted, but as we do, it's live, you know, no scripted business. No. So getting into your producing now, because tell us about that. When did you start making music, man?
So I started making music again. I just said me and my partner Paul, we met at
That's where we were.
Yeah, we met at my club night. I booked Paul to come and DJ at my club night in Legends. I used to run Legends on a Saturday. And then we created just a bond where we just ended up doing back to back. And then I wanted to go in the studio, and I just discussed it with him, and we went in the studio in 1999. We had a first release in the Millennium, our first few tracks got signed to Detention Records, which was owned and run by Full Intention, Michael Gray and John Pern. We were quickly on Sulfuric, remixing on there, and then we bought out a sampler pack. One of our samplers was #1 on Roger Santi's show for about 9 weeks on Kiss FM, which was kind of unheard of. Yeah. So yeah, we kind of quickly gained some popularity, you know. And I've
got to say, Wayne, right, from a lot of the stuff that's coming out, I'm talking about now. We've kind of touched on the past, but we want to move forward because it's mainly about 2023, which we're going to touch on. Your stuff is pretty much quality, bruv.
Oh, thank you.
I'll say that as a producer myself and a DJ myself. It is really top-notch stuff, you know. And you got together with the Dolly Rockers as well.
Yeah, so Mark's was childhood.
I've got to say, before you go into it, Paul did rinse you on this when I interviewed him, so you can get him back there.
Don't worry, I'll be rinsing Paul. Do you know what I mean?
So tell us about the link up with Dolly Rockers and.
So Mark's been I've known Mark since I was 13, 14. We come from the same area. We grew up together and went out clubbing together in 86, 87, 88, 89. We was together for all of that period. We were good pals. Mark started a club night up. I started a club night up. We're both from North London, and we had different kind of crowds, a little bit of a different sound. So we kind of did our own things. And then I kind of fell out of love with music in 2009 when it was just terrible. You know, there's a lot of tech house around and minimal stuff, and just
which is all good for people that like that kind of music. It weren't for you.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
So there was no funky house around. There was no soulful stuff.
Yeah.
It was absolutely dead. And I just had enough, really. Do you know what I mean? So I kind of gave it all up, pulled away from the scene. And then Paul and Mark, which I know as Ollie and Ginger, right? That's what that's what I'm known to as me. And it's because of them two that I got back into music. They kind of was sort of like, come on, man, like get DJing. You know, you should not be DJing.
Yeah.
So they got me up on one of the radio shows on a guest spot, and the rest is history, really. I got the bug back. Fell head over heel in love with funky house again and soulful stuff.
Yeah.
And then when I got the urge to sort of like start producing music again, which I didn't really want to do, because I just wanted this to be my hobby, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It was a natural thing to go in the studio with them two, and it's not a natural thing to go in the studio and get on with your friends. It's not, but we do.
Yeah, yeah.
Just,
you know, sometimes it does happen, man.
And it's just clicks, and we went in and it clicked, and here we are. 50 releases later on our label.
Brilliant, man.
We're doing it really well, and I love every minute that I spend with them guys in the studio, whether it be on the radio here or whether it be in the studio.
And you have played out a lot amongst us
we
with
play out
each
a lot
other
together as well. Yeah. Obviously, the boys are flying. They're DJing everywhere. But I don't DJ everywhere. You know, I turn down quite a lot of gigs. I like to keep my gigs and keep my DJing like as a hobby. I don't want it to take over my life again. I like doing normal things. I like being a punter.
You're enjoying it as well.
So I do a lot of big gigs, don't get me wrong, but I just don't DJ every weekend. So when I do DJ out, I'm generally on the same bill as them, and I go out with them guys, and and I enjoy being around them. We have fun. I think it comes through in the music we make.
Brilliant. Wayne, what's happening in 2023? Any plans that we can talk about, or releases, DJing?
So obviously releases, we've got a list as long as our arm what we're working on. Do you know what I mean? So we've got a Donna Allen Serious remix coming out with Michael Gray mixes. That's coming out on High Fashion Music. That's coming out vinyl first and then digital download, and that's kind of imminent at the moment.
Good.
We've got our mix of Sean Christopher, Another Sleepless Night. That's coming out on Stickman Records in New York City. That's coming out in the end of March. And then for Trois Garçons, we've kind of got a release lined up every 4 to 5 weeks.
That's kicked off. That's kicked off.
It's doing well. It's doing well. We're getting top 5 positions. The sales are fantastic. I couldn't really ask for any more. I'm so happy with the label. I'm happy with the sound, the A&R in that the three of us do. You know, 3 people A&R in a track, you know, normally wouldn't work. You know what I mean? But we're all on the same page, and we don't have A&R arguments. We've got a bit of a rule that, you know, if one person don't like it, then that's it. It's dead.
That's brilliant to have that understanding.
And we don't fall out. It's like, you know, as soon as someone says, "I'm not really feeling this one," that's it. It's done.
Yeah, move on.
It's done. So,
absolutely, man. Well, listen, Wade, man, and DJing wise for 2023, whatever comes up.
I've got House and Classics coming up. I've got Foxy Fest coming up. I've got Jack Your Body in Brighton Festival. I've got the big one, which is I'm playing as Soul Avengers back together with my old partner Soul Avengers, and we're doing Clockstock in a disco tent. So really excited about that one.
Actually.
So got some really big festivals coming up and some really big gigs. And also got my own Dirty Night still going strong. So we've got that. We've got two more parties of that coming up this year. So
listen, Wayne, I've got to say, right, Paul did say when you interview Wayne, he ain't going to stop talking. And I've got to say, right, you need to be Pasha. You need to touch in 10 minutes, and that's a rarity. Brother, listen, I'd love to say thank you very much for your time, and put me on your mailing list as well, brother. And take it easy and keep it real.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Wayne
Cheers.
Soul Avenger, man. Tell us about your show before we go.
My show is 6 till 8 on a Tuesday, and it's everything funky. And I've also got to say that I absolutely love being part of Centre Force.
Touche.
You know, it's a fantastic place to be, and I get to share the music that I love with all the listeners, and I love it. You know.
Brilliant. Brother, thank you very much. I love you, man. Take care.
Cheers. Thank you.